there will be a lot of challenges, it's just inevitable, and there's always more things to do than you can ever do yourself. And I think it's really important to try to build that balance in your life. Whether you have kids or don't have kids, it doesn't matter. For your sanity, important to have some balance. And as much as I love working on, my startup, and I just remember those days or periods when I was like constantly working, it's unhealthy. Like you feel it, you keep doing that, but you still feel it.
Welcome to A Founder's Life. I'm your host, Leo Gestetner. On this show, we dive into the real stories behind the highs and lows of entrepreneurship and how we pursue a more balanced and meaningful life along the way. This podcast is sponsored by Thanks, helping founders like us scale with reliable remote talent. Email founders@thanks.com, that's THANKZ.com, with the subject line A Founder's Life, and you'll receive preferred pricing. Now, I'm excited today to be joined by Vova Feldman. Vova, thank you for joining. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. First, really excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me. So I'm Vova. I'm the founder and CEO of Freemius. Freemius is a payment, subscription, a global sales stacks and platform specifically focused on selling software. So we basically provide the entire commercial stack for selling software globally.
Excellent. And do you want to tell us a little bit about what your journey was that brought you to where you are today? And then a little more about what a typical customer would look like within the business.
Yeah, sure. So it started as, scratching my own itch. I've been a founder for many years, coming actually from the technical background. A developer, studied computer science and math. And when my previous company was acquired, I was kind of thinking what I'm going to do next. And I had this side hobby thing, a little micro SaaS, that I decided let's try to turn that into business. I created a little team and we worked about a year commercializing the solution from like a free widget to a subscription-based SaaS. It worked pretty well. We started, to take money home. But what was really interesting to discover is that the core product didn't change at all. It was something that I myself built before the AI era in 2 weekends of my spare time. So that kind of, aha moment that for developers, building software is something that's like relatively easy. But when it comes to the whole commercial side of things, you need to do a lot of additional things, user management, marketing automation, payment processing integrations, and, affiliate platform. The stack just go on and go on. So that was kind of the origin story of Freemius. I realized there's a bigger problem. There are a lot of developers out there that have side things that they really wish that they could, turn that into their livelihood. And for me, it was kind of exciting. Let's see how I can help others like me to achieve the same autonomy, I would say. Freedom is a big word. I don't like using it too much, but being entrepreneurs themselves, right? Empowering them with a tool that will help them to become entrepreneur without taking a year off from the full-time job and risking, everything that it takes to actually start a business. So that was kind of the origin, the story of Freemius. Let's see how we can cut the time to market from a matter of a year, a month, to a matter of minutes.
Nice. And how does family look for you?
My wife and I, our first kid was born when we were 38. So it took us time to get there, both because we're focused on our careers. We're not sure whether, I personally debated with myself, what is where I can make a more meaningful impact in life. Should I focus? Because if I'm already going for kids, I want to be there, I'm not just doing that to check a box. So whether, I want to focus in one person and, trying to make the biggest impact I can on one versus, let's put that aside. And now I have much more time potentially, and I can make a bigger impact in the world. Now that I do have 2 kids, I understand that you can do both. And I once the first son was born, I very quickly realized I can't continue working at the same pace that I worked before, being the 14 hours per day, weekends and all of that. I really enjoy doing that, right? Because it's my baby. I'm helping others like me. I'm very passionate and mission driven in what I do, but I also want to spend time with my family, with my kids. And I'm so happy in the end, we did that. Like, I think for me, it's like much, much more satisfying. Like, I love the company, I love the mission, but, I love my kids. When they hug me, it's like completely, like you can't really compare that to anything.
Yeah, there's something about seeing those little people grow up as well as you help mold them. And in some ways they mold you, because it's definitely a two-way influence.
Yeah, and I think also it impacts you as an entrepreneur as well, because you have less time to work. You have to be much like, you have to distill the real priorities. You can no longer just like, okay, there are like always more things to do than you ever have time. But now, because it's even like less time, you have to be like hyper focused on the most impactful things. And so it automatically improves, hopefully, you're getting better in prioritization. So I also noticed that. And from talking with my friends who are also entrepreneurs, I got the same kind of feedback.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's very true. It sort of helps focus the mind a little. And how does health look for you, whether that be sleep, nutrition, fitness? How does that look?
Yeah, all of it. I think it's critical. Sleep was always critical for me. I remember in university, I did really intense studying. I did like a double degree in the same time in 3.5 years. So I remember I was like, napping every day, not because I was doing physical activities, because my brain was like all in. So I learned how important it is to sleep. Unfortunately, I can't sleep as I could when I was younger. I guess the kids and all of that, but definitely everything that you mentioned. I also went through like a kind of personal growth journey like 5 years ago, when I was I think it's pretty common to entrepreneurs being in this anxiety state that you constantly, what you need to do, and you're not fast enough, and you can't really like pause your mind when you're off the office. You're always there, always thinking. It's hard to get to sleep, and you're not sleeping well. And I did a bunch of things, like I watched different podcasts and YouTube and stuff like that, and took things that worked for me. So in terms of like health, I've been doing sports my entire life. When I was very young, I was a professional swimmer. Then I was professional like kayak. And these days, what I'm doing is capoeira, which is a Brazilian movement, martial art, music, community. It involves a lot of things. It's really amazing. And it definitely keeps me fit. I'm also trying to do some stretching and push-ups on a daily basis to get the energy going in the morning. So I do have like different routines to get me, try to be at my prime every time, on a daily basis.
I think, fitness is something, and health generally, which helps in both the things we've discussed so far. I think, I do believe in a healthy mind, healthy body, and healthy
Absolutely.
body, healthy mind. So I think it helps in business. It helps you be more focused. It helps you be more energetic. And it very much helps with family
you to be
as
a
well.
better father as well. Yeah, I was just about to say that. You are physically fit. You have a baby, and like you need to move. You need to hold him. Some people have back pains, have this, have that. Like, you need to be fit. It helps to be fit in life.
And, as the kids get older, I can tell you that they will learn those influences from you. So they can learn from someone who's healthy. That's something that will be with them for the rest of their lives. So, I've really noticed that with my kids. As I've got healthier, as I've got older, my kids have seen that influence, and I think that makes a real difference.
Yeah. So I'm coming from, like, I was born in Ukraine, so my parents are like Soviets, and it's like pretty common, to push your kids to do like some sports and music. It's kind of the thing back then. That was the thing. So it was like my sister did the same, and many, other Soviets that moved to Israel. I know they had like similar experiences. But yeah, I know I had few periods in my life without sports, and you feel so much more tired. You don't have the same energy. It's just like you need that. You have to have that. I remember when I had those periods when I was constantly working nonstop, like 12 to 14 hours a day, including weekends. I wouldn't say that I got burned out, but it fucks up your brain. It impacts your sleep. Everything is unhealthy. Like, you feel that something is not working there. And the moment you add sports, like, it's changing things. You sleep better. your body like adjusts, healthier, metabolism, things are working better.
There is that positive, virtuous circle that, the more workouts create that positive endorphin. And one thing people who aren't runners always find strange to understand is it also can be remarkably relaxing and meditative. Like for me, for when I go out for a run, I feel more energized afterwards, not less energized. And what do you like to do for fun?
Yeah. So I would say that the sports that I'm doing, it is a lot of fun. Like when we do capoeira, we call that we play together. It's like a game. You get it. It's a movement. It's like you do it in couples. There is this like energy. I don't want to call it, but it's kind of like there is some dance and, communication, like body communication that is happening. And like I said, there's community there and we're very good friends because over the years, all the high school friends, they're all like scattered around the country. Some of them are abroad and everything. But here we have this place where like we come twice a week for many years together. So we became really close friends and we hang together. So there is that. I would say this is, a big part of the fun. I feel that my work is fun. I also like dancing and, there's a limit to my time as well. I like to do many things, but there's just so much, a limit of time.
And for you, we've talked about all these different things. How do you lead a balanced life? So in whatever definition that looks like. And again, I don't count a balanced life as your permanent imbalance because no one is. But, that overall balanced life, how do you lead that?
Yeah, I think I learned over the years how to, when I end up my day. I also in a better place right now when it comes to my team and the company. I have strong team members that I can rely on. I'm currently more on I'm leading the company and less executing myself. So I think it frees up some time. I remember when my first son was born, I was, you walk in a park with your son in the stroller, but I can still communicate with the team, still have meetings. So it allows you like more freedom when it comes to that. But yeah, I think that the key is to be able to, to separate. There's the work. There is the life, of course. Sometimes there are crises and you have to step in. But I really learned over the years that was also part of that like growth journey to focus at the now and be able to really, whatever crisis it is, if I'm not dealing with a crisis right now, I'm not worried about that. Because I feel that the more you grow in life, in terms of age, there are more problems. Just how, I don't know, this is what's happening. Maybe it will change. I don't know. We'll see. But it's like, there are more pressure, bigger challenges, bigger problems. Everything is bigger. And if you're constantly in stress about that, it's just like so hard. You're constantly in anxiety. And because part of that, journey, I was also exposed to stoicism and that approach. I like really connected with that and being less worried about the things that I don't have control of in life, not taking it to your heart. And so I'm trying to be like more chill.
What has been a pivotal moment in your life?
The kids, for sure. That's like a big thing that is changing. Like I feel that in the end, it's like any big changes, it's like gradual, small incremental changes. And that's how I also try to like approach things in life. Constantly, look on the ongoing growth and not necessarily like the big milestones or like something that's pivotal. Like I can say, oh, we moved to a different apartment or we did this or we moved to a different city or we lived in a different country. And so those were milestones, it wasn't something that just happened for no reason. There were like things that were built to that moment. But yeah, like I participated in some startup accelerators that really changed my life. Like when I started with entrepreneurship in Israel, which was, 2010, 9, something like that, the ecosystem wasn't as what it is today. And like my parents don't have any like startups background. My father is a dentist, my mother is a teacher. So we're trying to figure out things ourselves. And then we got accepted to Techstars in Boston and got there and really got education of what it means to build a startup, build a company, the importance of networking. And through that journey, there were like, people that made big impacts on me, something that, was memorable and meaningful. I remember we had a mentor from Zynga in in Techstars, and we had a meeting with him. And our solution was very technological, what we were doing back then with the startup. And he was like giving us some feedback, and he was talking about the UI or something like that. We're like, yeah, it's a UI, who cares? Something like that. That was the reaction. He looked at us, and he's coming from the gaming industry where, it's not only gaming, but he like told us, get out of this room. He was half joking, but like that was something, that reaction made a difference. It was pivotal. Like if I'm looking that moment, that was when I realized, okay, like we are clearly missing something out. So that was something about the importance of, interfaces and how people don't really care about what's happening behind the scenes. What they really care about is the experience and how things look like. So it's like obvious to talk about this stuff now, but as you grow through your entrepreneurial journey, you get those like smart people along the way that tell you those things, and you're like, right, So there are many of those that eventually led me to where I am today, and I'm trying to pay it forward through what I'm doing. Freemius, like our target audience, indie developers, small software companies, many that going through the same entrepreneurial journey that I went through. And a big part of what we do, in addition to the platform and the technical solution, we also acknowledge that because it's a revenue share model, like our success is directly dependent on the success of the companies that are using Freemius. So we want to help them be more successful. And one way to do that is help them strategically on things like pricing and marketing and acknowledging those small things and the UI and the product. And so I feel that a lot of like my personal journey eventually kind of brought me to the mission that I'm doing today, trying to help others to do the same, to go through a similar journey.
Lovely. And what's one piece of advice you would give to an aspiring entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think that there'll be a lot of challenges, and it's just inevitable. And there's always more things to do than you can ever do yourself. And I think it's really important to like be more calm and not take things too much to your heart, and try to build that balance in your life. Whether you have kids or don't have kids, it doesn't matter. For your sanity, it's important to have some balance. And as much as I love working on, my startup, and I just remember those days or periods when I was like constantly working, it's unhealthy. Like you feel it, you keep doing that, but you still feel it. So I think the advice is understand that there are challenges. Don't take them to your heart. Try to think, not take them emotionally, personally, and just do the best. Like the way I'm trying, maybe it's not only for founders, but in general, right? Like the way I see living my life is I learned to trust myself and my decisions, and at any point in time, I'm trying to make the best decision based on the knowledge and the experience and my intuition. I do trust my intuition. And if I make a mistake, I try to learn from it, right? To do some retrospective reflection with myself, try to be a better person tomorrow. But I don't like grind on that. I don't eat myself. Oh, what did I do this? Yeah, we all make mistakes. That's how you grow in life, So like be more chill. Just try to do your best and learn from it all the time. Like, I think it's super important to have that, like, infinite student mindset, or however you want to call that. This is the way to evolve, and also pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, because this is how you grow. If you are feeling like everything is coming easy to you and you don't need to, itch about it, then you're not growing.
Nice. And how can people find you?
Yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm on LinkedIn, Vova Feldman. I'm on X, the same handler. Instagram, whatever, Blue Sky, I'm there. Yeah, I'm also on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. So if you are interested to see, my kind of growth journey as an entrepreneur, sharing a lot of lessons, trying to build in public to a certain extent, and kind of sharing, like I'm very active now on LinkedIn and X, trying to share the real things that are happening in Freemius, how I'm building Freemius, the challenges that we're having, the iterations, customers, things that I'm conducting, like office hours on a weekly basis with other software founders, SaaS companies. So also sharing those lessons for others to learn from. Yeah, I'm on social media. You can find me everywhere, basically.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and please leave a review.